Hello again, Struck Co-op. Today I'm bringing you another build video for Torchlight 3's early access, and this one is for the Railmaster plus the Bane Relic, i.e. the Bane train setup. I decided to call it the Ancestral Baneductor, Railmaster plus Bane build, and I think it's kind of a nice setup. I'm focusing more on the Bane rather than the train. I've only got the build car and the flamethrower car, but I'm using the blasting charge for vulnerability. I have 4 points for the tier 2 lantern flash to get that extra 65% damage to blinded, stunned or sword. And I've got Spectral Spider up to tier 2. I've got tier 1 Arachnid Assault, and I've got maxed out Miasma. Then I've also got the level 5 passive skill that gives us 10% poison damage per level, which is 50% poison damage in total, and this is great. This is such an underestimated skill, I guess, or at least it was for me when I was doing my sharpshooter build, because it really gives you total of 50% poison damage. So if a weapon gives you 4000 weapon damage, when you equip it on your stats it will show a 6000 poison attack, and that's great because you can stack items not just from the weapon and offhand but from the legs, boots, chest, etc. with poison damage. I'm using the +2 poison, not +2 poison, but the +2 slammer and the +2 conductor skill levels, and with the phantom buffer you get extra ancestral spirits. With the flying picks you get faster recharge for the flying picks, and at tier 3 flying picks gives you extra summons, and I think the build is fun. A lot of ancestral spirits, a lot of spiders, and in general the damage just piles up and it's fun to play. It's fun to play if you like summoner builds. So let's show you the skills first. Selecting which skills to use for this build was kind of a tough task because, well, there's many things I would like to have ideally on a summoner / train build, but first the SWAT numbers are limited. Second, the skill points are even more limited, so with 60 skill points I had to do a lot of one tapping, meaning I had to have a lot of skills with just a single point, whereas 1 point gives you great returns, but the more you invest into that skill, the less of a return. The diminishing returns for certain skills are kind of high. One such skill, for example, would be Ghost Train. Yes, the tier 3 bonus is nice, but that's gonna require 7 more skill points, and what, just for 50% larger Ghost Train? So 1 point into Ghost Train is more than enough with the extra +2 levels from the Cosmic Helmet. We get 1 extra Ghost Train charge. Then the same goes for Build Train. Build Train, yeah, we can get with 3 more points 20% more damage for conductor skills, which means Ghost Train and Flamethrower car would get that extra damage, but again we need more points for Bane and for Slammer skills, so I decided to one tap this one. Flamethrower car, I really like the tier 3 bonus, but again that's extra 4 points, so I don't think it's really worth it. And that's why I just got it all the way to tier 2 for the Relic energy charge rate, and then after that I decided to stop investing. Next, on the slammer side of things, I one-tapped blasting charge, because with the +2 skill points from my chest plate, from the cosmic breastplate, I'm getting the extra 20% vulnerability, which makes the vulnerability from 25 to 30%, which is good enough. It's good enough for us. It's decent as a one-tap skill. It's definitely worth the single point. Now, Lantern Flash I'm not using as an active skill, only for the passive tier 2 bonus, 65% damage versus stunned, blinded or swallowed. I think this is a must have on any build of the Railmaster. If you're not using that, you're robbing yourself from a lot of potential damage. I strongly suggest every Railmaster build, regardless whether it's train, slammer or relic centric build, to use this. you can easily get swowed from main hand or off hand rows, so you can definitely try swowing enemies, even if you're not using spike drive to swow enemies. Now hammer spin, I really like the tier 3 bonus and I decided to just get it. Some of you might not think you need the damage reduction, and that's fine, you can just tier 2 this or even tier 1 it. I still suggest at least going for tier 2 on this one if you want to save yourself a few more points. If you want to save yourself 4 more points, just go for tier 2 then. Flying Picks, this one I think is a must have as a tier 3. It's good to have double the spirits, I mean that's double the damage in a way when you use it with endurance charges, and try to make sure that you're using this when your endurance charges are full and not the flamethrower, the blasting charge, the hammer spin or ghost train. Make sure when you have full endurance to be using Ancestral Spirit. Yeah, I know it's tough when you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 skills that can end up using up the endurance. Making sure that you're using the correct skill at the right moment could be a little bit tough, but it takes some time, it takes some getting used to. Now from Bane, there are certain things I'd like to mention here. One of them is the way I've set up my skills. If you've already heard, I have Cosmic Breastplate for +1 and +1 Slammer skills, together with Powdrons, and I decided to get Gauntlets. Then I also have Arc Powered Helmet, so those 3 give me the bonus of 3 pieces, and in the legendarium I've put the Cosmic Helmet, so I get +2 Conductor, but I also get +2 Slammer, and on my helmet I have +1 skill level to Miasma, which means I get 1 extra skill point other than those two to all Slammer and Conductor, and that allows me a little bit more flexibility. So I don't have to put 10 points in Miasma, I can put 9. Ideally you would be wearing a Cosmic Helmet and blue Gauntlets. And the Cosmic Helmet would give you +1 skill level to either of your skills. Now let's move on to the Bane after telling you this. So you can see Miasma is 9 out of 10, but it's still level 10. And we get that minions deal 100% more damage while Miasma is active. I save Miasma and Arachnid Assault for big groups of champions and for bosses most of the time. Then Spectral Spider, this time around, unlike my Sharpshooter, I decided to go for the tier 2 bonus instead of the tier 3. I think those 4 points are much better spent on other things, so even for my Sharpshooter build, I would probably suggest not getting those 4 points and just maxing out Spread of Death, which is the must-have best skill, I think, in the Bane skill tree. As a passive. This gives you 50% bonus poison damage. Not just to skills, but to everything. As long as you have a poison weapon and more poison bonuses, you're gonna just see some demonstration here. So now, this one is supposed to give me 237 poison damage, but with the 50%, it's becoming 356. Now if we add another 7.7%, that's 383. The same goes for this weapon. It's supposed to give me 5132. But when I equip it, it's actually 7699. If I equip my boots with another 7.7, boom, 8295 poison damage, and then we add the legs and boom, 8678. So here, this 237 level 46 item, you can probably replace it with something with crit chance. I mean, 237 at level 58 is no longer that great, but that's a 46 item. So someone might want to replace it with something that gives you crit chance, such as for example this one. This one won't be a bad choice, and it's also gonna give me chance to get Relic energy, but more about gear later. So just wanted to notify you about this big boost of damage that some people might underestimate. Even I on my sharpshooter summoner build, which was my first build after the changes to the subclasses, I kind of overlooked this. I didn't think this boosts all total poison damage. I thought it was just spread of death damage, and this is just too good to miss out on. So 5 points into Spread of Death, 6 into Spectral Spider just to make it ranged, 9/10 into Miasma, 3 points into Arachnid Assault to get the Queen. If you don't want the Queen, at least put it as a 1 point. At least as a 1 point it's great. Now 8-legged allies I've only put as a 1 point, because I think it's much better to spend the points into Energizer. So I 1-tapped this to get 3 spiders. And I think it's mixed up. It should be all spider count 1 and then 1 per level, and additional spiderling damage should be the percentages. It's mixed up, but you get it. You get what I mean. So I think I have 3 or 4. I can't tell whether it's 3 plus 1 or the 3 is including the plus 1. In any case, 1-tap this and then 5 points into this, and then the final points I think are worth spending into minion damage. I've got 2 more points, so this would end up being 20. If I sacrifice 1 point from another place, I can get this to be 25, but for that 5% minion damage, it's not worth sacrificing some of my tier bonuses, so I'd rather keep it. If you don't like Ghost Rain, which I think you should, but if you don't use the Phantom Buffer, or if you don't have it, then don't use Ghost Rain until you get the Phantom Buffer. Without the Phantom Buffer, Ghost Rain is just not gonna be that great for this build. It might look cool, but without the Ancestral Spirit, you're not gonna see that big of an increase. So I think most of the things I needed to say I said. Now let's move on to showing you the legendarium. You already saw me that I have the cosmic helmet. Ideally I would be wearing this instead of the arc powered helmet, and this would give me another +1 skill level to any skill that I've got that's not level 1. So keep in mind, if I have +1 to Flamethrower Car, or +1 to Spectral Spider, Spread of Death, Puppet Master, Miasma, Arachnid Assault, Energizer, Flying Picks, Hammer Spin, or Lantern Flash, any of the skills that are not just 1 point in them, if I get +1 level, that means I can remove 1 point and have 1 more point to work with. And ideally you would have this road on a cosmic helmet, and that means this SWAT you can probably put Blasting Charge on, or you can even consider Centrifugal Demolisher, but I don't think we really need it. But you can consider Doom Pipe to make the Flamethrower Car always get its endurance bonus. So 2 good things to consider is Blast Breaker or Doom Pipe. Another thing worth considering would be the legs I just showed you, the arc powered legs. They're not a bad choice. If you really need more survivability, consider what's its name, Skittering Shoulders. And then there's another suggestion, a Boneblocker / Bonerazor combo, meaning you're gonna equip Bonerazor here, and then you will be wearing Boneblocker. This works, you would get the extra summons as long as Boneblocker is equipped and you're wearing a Bonerazor in the legendarium. But that means you would have to get a very good one-handed poison weapon. Something with sockets would work. 2 sockets have flat poison damage at the top and flat poison damage at the bottom, with maybe chance to slow would be okay. Or maybe the shield can give you chance to slow. It is really difficult to get a good rolled one-handed weapon, but with enough farming you hopefully will get this as a drop. And a good Boneblocker as well would be needed. So Boneblocker with chance to slow like this one could go a long way. Even if it's a low level one, it's definitely something worth keeping. I think I said a lot of info about gear in this segment, and I'm gonna be repeating myself, but yeah. So I already mentioned Phantom Buffer, Stinging Wing, and um, maybe wearing a Bone Razor, or Arc Powered Legs, or Skittering Shoulders, or Buzz Breaker, or Doom Pipe instead of the Cosmic Helmet if you're wearing the Cosmic Helmet yourself. If you don't have +1 skill levels on the Cosmic Helmet, just get this to level 3 instead of level 4, and you're not gonna be that robbed of DPS from this change. So you probably saw some variations of how to build. If you don't want to be spending the points into Puppet Master, how you can rework certain things if you don't want the ranged Spectral Spider, or if you don't want the Arachnid Assault to be at tier 1. So hope those variations help you decide whether that's your kind of thing, your kind of build. Now let's move on to the pet skills just for a moment to talk about them. So I use Aura Deadlier Strikes or almost every, if not every build. You cannot stack two of them, so if you're playing with others, make sure to be using different auras. So if you're using this, your teammate could be using Defender or Increased Awareness or Running Partner, or you can change. Then I like using Healing Friendship, and I like using Battle Cry and Defensive Posture. On this build might be good to use Screeching Stun, so you can stun and get that damage to stunned enemies proccing. It's only 30-second cooldown and stuns for 1 second, so some people might prefer to get a Mobilize or Necropupper as well. Necropupper doesn't seem to be working right now, but maybe when it gets fixed it's gonna be great. Defensive Posture is also a good choice. Even this is a good choice for a Bane build, I guess. So that's it for the skills. Let's show you more info about the gear. And now here we are at the gear segment. As you probably heard me in the previous segment, I talked about how the passive poison damage really boosts our damage if we are using poison as a base. 50% is not something to exclude from a build. Yes, you're getting forced into using poison rolled items, but they're great. So apart from poison damage, things you need to look out for is damage to Spectral Spiders, or damage with Arachnid Assault, or damage with Miasma. Slow, damage with Slammer skills, damage with Conductor skills. They're all useful things, all good and useful things that can help you. As I mentioned, +1 skill level to any of the skills that you have more than 1 point invested into. Crit chance and crit damage. Keep in mind, crit damage is limited to 300%, so anything above that is overkill, so don't overdo it. Minus Relic energy cost, an amazing stat. Getting more out of that is great overall. I've got 11% of it, so not that much, but still nice. Chance to evade, walk chance, good stats as well. Poison duration is not that great, but it's okay. Chance to poison is good as well. What else should we mention? I'm probably missing certain things. Yeah, defense, HP, we can't miss those. Gearwork is fine, but keep in mind the limit is 100. So some maps would give you 25 gearwork. And there used to be legendary maps, but they removed them from the contract, so they're probably planning on getting them another way, or maybe completely remove them so we don't get too quickly geared up. So if you do get those 50 gearwork map works, keep that in mind. There's also Fazir maps with 50 gearwork, so 50 to 75 gearwork should be fine for you. No more than that, I guess. What stats else? Oh yeah, Relic energy generation, another great stat. Then keep in mind, for pet, poison damage also gets boosted. Look at that. This is 3175 poison damage. I put it on the pet, boom, 5131. So the 50% works. So if I replace this ice with this extra 2.8k, boom, 9k poison damage for the pet. So yeah, I think it's definitely nice to try and get certain things. So let's talk about quickly which my favorite pet items are. Dryad's Neckband, Token of Invigoration, and Token of Rapid Bartering, which looks like this, which is now broken. I tested it and it just doesn't make the pet return faster from the town. Another thing that could probably synergize well would be Token of Contagion for this build. Another thing I really like using is Phoenix Token as well. So those are some things worth mentioning, and for Summoner build the obvious choice would be the Ancient Ones token, so another thing worth using on this build. So now let's talk about bases. I already mentioned it in the previous segment, but you want Cosmic Breastplate, Cosmic Shoulders, and ideally a Cosmic Helmet, which has +1 skill level to one of the skills you're using with more than 1 point invested into it. Then you don't have to use the Cosmic Gauntlets and you can use blue ones, which can end up giving you a lot of good stats. Alternatively, you can do like me. If you get a good type of helmet, blue or legendary, any type of helmet that gives you +1 to a specific skill, you could just swap the Cosmic Shoulders in and the Cosmic Helmet in the legendarium and just use Cosmic Gauntlets. I would stay away from boots or legs on this build, although the legs are not bad, but again, boots or legs could give you good damage increases, so try to get those in the blue instead of using them as legendary. Another alternative would be swatting the Cosmic Breastplate and getting one with flat poison damage, or percent poison damage, or flat and percent poison damage, or crit damage and stuff like that, and then using the helmet, the pauldrons and the gauntlets as a cosmic. So that's another way of doing it, probably the more meta way, the more synergistic way if you want to squeeze more damage, but also the harder thing to get right. As a weapon, as I said, with poison damage you can get very nice stats on a two-handed with 2 sockets. I've seen triple socketed pistols. I don't know whether that was a bug or whether that's a new thing. Ideally you would be wearing a Boneblocker and swatting a Bonerazor, and then you would have a nice blue one-handed sword or mace or pistol with poison flat and another poison flat and maybe chance to slow and maybe 2 sockets. Things like that would be the ideal thing to use. Hopefully this helps you. Hopefully this was all useful information to you. I think we pretty much covered everything there is. If I did miss something, apologies, let me know what I might have missed. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Let's just show you some more gameplay footage next. And here we are at the gameplay segment, where I show you more gameplay of the build and talk about how I rotate and play my skills. Here it's super important to try and make sure that whenever you have full endurance you're using flying picks and not by accident like I sometimes do it using the blasting charge or the flamethrower car or hammer spin or ghost train. You want to be spamming those Ancestral Spirits with the ranged attacks with flying picks as much as you can. In general you can see, if you let the train be, even if you don't activate it, it's nice, but it's always nice to activate it. And yeah, hammer spin is great for the mobility, great to get that shield bubble for damage reduction. The spider, the Spectral Spider can be used as a nuke, not just as a summoning skill, which is another great thing to consider. And you can fuel up your energy and use it 4 times if you want to, or 5 times depending on how much cost reduction you've got. Or you can just wait for full energy and encounter a boss with full energy, then pop Miasma, pop Arachnid Assault, spam a spider once and then let the damage pile up, in the meantime getting all the other summons such as the Ancestral Spirits from Flying Picks and Ghost Train. I think Ghost Train really is a great 1-point investment and I really like it. So at first I was wondering whether it would be fun and whether I would keep it when I created that character and leveled it up last night on stream. And I ended up keeping it. I ended up not removing the point because it was giving me okay piling damage. So yeah, I think it's worth the point. So I'm sacrificing putting another train car, but for the sake of having ghost train. Some people might want to put another train car, such as maybe shotgun car, even if it's at level 1, or maybe shocking rounds. But I guess it's experimental. You can modify the build, make it your own, use my setups as a starting point, and then let me know what works better for you compared to my suggested setups. I love the spiders, I love the poison, I love the extra poison damage that we can get with Bane, and it's great. So I've been having a blast playing this, leveling this, and I can't wait to see what other builds I could make with the summoner on the mage, and Nethermancer mage, and later on the forged, the even weirder summoner setup. So this pretty much sums up the build. If you'd like to get notified when I upload more content, you can subscribe to my channel and hit that bell button to not miss the content update notifications. The content you would expect to see on my channel is builds and guides and info news videos, as well as other type of content for wooters of all sorts, RPGs, ARPGs, tactical RPGs, shooter wooters, and other things in between. Thanks for watching, keep it cool, Struck Up, and until next time.